Hello, my friends. Look what came in. More Little People Big Dream books. This one is about Jane Goodall. And if you haven't heard of her before, you might be able to tell her area of expertise by looking at the cover. This one is by Maria Isabel Sanchez Vergara and illustrated by Beatrice Cerrucci. And Jane Goodall is one of Miss Rebecca's favorite people. So she was pretty excited that I was going to read this one. When Jane was a little girl, her father gave her a stuffed chimpanzee named Jubilee, and she carried it with her wherever she went. Jane loved animals very much. She wanted to live in the jungle with wild chimpanzees, just like the heroes of her bedtime stories, Tarzan and Jane. At night, her mother read her their adventures. But Jane could not afford to go to college to study the animals, so she would have to study them in her own way. She saved every penny she had until she could buy a boat ticket to Kenya, a country in Africa. When she arrived, Jane met a well-known scientist named Louis Leakey. He was looking for a chimpanzee researcher willing to study them in the wild. He thought that they could learn about humans by studying apes. This was the opportunity for which Jane had been waiting. So Jane took another journey to the shores of the Gombe in Tanzania. To start with, she couldn't see any chimpanzees, but she had the feeling that the chimpanzees were near, that they were watching her. She decided just to sit quietly in the same spot day after day, and finally a small group of chimpanzees appeared and let her sit with them. Jane had been accepted into the family. Instead of numbering them, as all other scientists did, Jane decided to give every chimpanzee a name. There was David Graybeard, Flo, Flint, Fifi, and Gigi, to name a few. By watching them carefully, she noticed that some chimps were kind, quiet, and generous, while others were bullies. It seemed that humans and chimps weren't so different after all. Then Jane made another incredible discovery. Chimpanzees could make their own tools. This was something only humans were thought to do. They would use sticks as straws, that kind of thing. Jane's talent was quickly recognized by Cambridge University. Here, she studied for her doctorate in animal behavior, and it wasn't long before she wrote her first article for one of the most famous science magazines. Jane continued to study chimps in the Gombe for years, 40 years, but jungles were starting to disappear across Africa, which put all kinds of animals in danger, and she knew she had to do something. Jane joined countless projects to protect nature. She was no longer just a courageous researcher, but also the most determined wildlife defender the world had ever seen. And the little girl who loved animals challenges us to be the kind to nature, because if chimpanzees can live in harmony with their environment, we can too. And my friends, that is the story of Jane Goodall. I'll put up a link to some more information about her. And when you see Miss Rebecca, you can ask her why she loves Jane Goodall so much. Rebecca's an animal lover too. Me too. And I know you are very loving, and I am hoping that when you go to sleep tonight, all your loving dreams will come true. My friends, do me a favor. Kiss those beautiful brains full of dreams and imagination. Kiss those loving hearts full of kindness and welcome. And do not forget, don't skip it, don't skip it. Look in the mirror and say, hey, good looking, because you are good looking just the way you are. Thank you for the privilege of serving you. See you tomorrow. Oh, dude, we have the premiere of the holiday show tomorrow, 12:15. It's gonna be cool.